Thanks for accessing the second video. We just left off with thesis, so I want you to literally put what you think your working thesis will be. At this point, you should have a pretty good idea because we're getting very close to the drafting stage. We know that when we come in Wednesday, we need to do the peer review, so you should have a thesis more or less nailed down. There won't be points taken out if it's not the same thesis that's in your paper, but you want to make sure that you've got a good idea what this thesis will be. And we've been working with it a lot, so I hope by now you've got it. I've made a note here, this thesis is clear. It includes a subject and a point of significance, and we even see some evidence in here too, which is something we talked about, something that makes a good thesis. Now if we scroll down to the conclusion, we see that the student has done something very smart. They've restated the thesis using fresh language in part A, and they've also included significance in part B. Those are the two things that are going to make your conclusions very strong. Now here at the bottom, I've rated this an exceptionally prepared outline. Because of the effective organization, all the main points make sense. The parallel structure, so again, having your Roman numerals in order. If you have an A, you need a B. If you have a 1, you need a 2. The quality of the details. If you have 1s and 2s, that's a good sign that you're doing enough research. It's a good sign that you know what you're going to talk about in your paper. Because of those elements, this is an exceptionally prepared outline. To help you with this, especially if you weren't here on Friday, I've went ahead and made an outline template. This is also located under the Files tab in our iCampus course. So what you're going to do here is just leave the title, right? Pre-writing : outline, that is your title, but you will have to insert your heading here and your last name and page number here, and all of this will be single-spaced. I've laid out the template for your opener. What hook are you going to start with? What are you thinking of? For the context, how will you lead the reader from your opener to the thesis? Here's where you would put your thesis statement. One thing that the sample I've showed you does not have is a background paragraph. I would like for that to be a Roman numeral too. So for your background paragraph, are you going to have a historical background? Are you going to talk about the current situation regarding your issue? And how will you transition from your background to your argument? Roman numeral 3, 4, and 5 are all main points. Now you may have more main points than that, and that's completely fine. I'm just giving you a template to start with. So let's start with Roman numeral 3, main point 1. Of course, we're going to need some evidence. So what is your main point? What's some evidence that you have for your main points? And those supporting details, that may be your citation or your paraphrase. You're going to follow that parallel structure all the way down. Now 6 I have reserved, Roman numeral 6 I've reserved for counter evidence. But you need to consider, is this where you want to put the counter evidence? Or when you're going through your main points, are you going to give some evidence, then counter evidence for your B, and then refute that counter evidence as a part C? The choice is up to you, and we've talked about this in class, so this should make sense to you. But you need to carefully consider, where are you going to put that counter evidence? Where does it make sense? In any case, whenever you present your counter evidence, of course it makes sense to have a rebuttal afterwards. You have to tell your audience, here are some opposing viewpoints, I'm recognizing them, maybe you're laying it out for them, but also here's how I'm refuting them, here's my rebuttal, here's where my perspective is still the best or the most relevant. And then your last Roman numeral, maybe it's not 7, maybe it's 8 or 9. This will be your conclusion where, of course, you're going to restate the thesis using fresh language, and you're also going to provide that significance. So down here at the bottom, I've made that note for you. You may have more than 7 Roman numerals. Perhaps you have more main points, more counter evidence, etc. You're not limited to this specific template, but you should follow the formatting in order to achieve that parallel structure. Now the hidden word that I want you to place in the discussion forum is banana. So before you turn this video off, make sure that you listen to these instructions. You have to follow this template, follow the instructions I've given you, but also go ahead and go to the discussion forum. There are a couple questions I want you to answer, and you also need to know the hidden word that I just told you. That's how you'll get your attendance points for the day. If you don't do those things, you don't get the attendance points. Reach out with any questions. I'm available via email all day for you. Okay? Thanks.